Dr. Pesa White, on the 9th of December 2020, you were at the headquarters of the first respondent. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord. I was there from the 7th of December to the 9th of December 2020.
You were there with Rojo Metonunu. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
Both of you were there as a representative of the petitioner. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
On the 9th, you granted an interview to Kwesi Parker Wilson of an Accra-based radio station. Is that correct?
That's correct. I granted an interview to TV station.
No. In that interview, you stated that your party had dictated some extra 390,000 ballots in the Ashanti region overnight. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
In that interview, you also stated that the NDC is disappointed and dissatisfied about that and some other processes of the EC. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
In the interview, you also said that some of the pink sheets that were coming in from the regions had tallied. Others had not tallied. Is that correct?
My lord, my recollection is that I indicated that some of the regional summary sheets that were coming in, the tallies were not adding up.
Now, in that interview, you also said that in as much as the EC is trying to improve its processes, it does not need to outsource efficiency and accuracy to the regional directors. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
Now, are you aware that under the rules that governed the 2020 7th December 2020 elections, the regional collation centers were introduced by law?
I am aware, my lord. And what I meant by the statement was and is that under the regulations, CI 127, Regulation 4410, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, who doubles as the returning officer for the presidential election, was required to be in the collation room with us as the regional summaries were coming in, so that together with her we will go through, and where we have concerns, we will together ascertain what the concerns were, arrive at conclusions before we could move on to the possibility of Form 13. That, as at the time I was granted the interview, never occurred, and indeed it never occurred up to now.
Now, Dr. Pesa White, are you aware that your colleague in the headquarters on the 9th, Mr. Rojo Metonunu, certified some of the regional presidential summary sheets that came from the regions? That's the Form 12s. Are you aware?
Yes, my lord, I'm aware.
Can you tell this honorable court those forms that were certified by Mr. Rojo Metonunu?
Yes, my lord. My lord, if you, with the greatest of respect, allow me, I'll refer to my file.
My lords, which document is the witness referring to?
I want to just be sure my lords give the correct regions. It's certified Upper East, Upper West, Volta, Oti, Ahafo, Northeast, Northwestern, Western North, Western region, Bono region, Central region, and Ashanti region.
So, in spite of the concerns expressed in your interview, your colleague certified the forms from Ashanti region. Is that correct?
That's correct. But, my lords, when the Ashanti region summary sheet came into the room, both of us there were representing the candidate, the petitioner in this case, and the political party. We consulted with the party at the regional level to find out what exactly was the situation as far as their computations were concerned. On the basis of what we were told by the party representatives at the region, we certified. Thereafter, we got information from the party at the national level when I spoke to the Deputy General Secretary of the party that the figures the party had collated was far less than what was indicated on the summary sheet that we had certified. And I brought that issue to the attention of the EC officials in the National Coalition Center.
Now, the party representative or the petitioner's representative in the Ashanti region who certified the form before you also certified in Accra is called Broja Jemfi. Is that correct? Ernest Broja Jemfi, is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
Now, at the time you certified the 12 forms, that's at the time Rojo Metonunu certified the 12 forms, you confirmed from all your regional representatives from the regional coalition centers before you certified. Is that correct?
My lord, I need clarity on the question. Are you asking with respect to Ashanti or with respect to all the other regions?
With respect to all the others that you have just told this court that Rojo Metonunu certified.
Yes, my lord.
Good. Now, let me ask you, was this the first time you were representing the petitioner in the strong room of the EC?
Yes, my lord.
Did you undergo some form of training as part of the learning process?
Yes, my lord.
Did you familiarize yourself with the rules under CI 127?
Yes, my lord.
You are well aware that for the purposes of our elections, declaration of results start from the polling station. Are you aware?
My lord, as far as I know, to the best of my knowledge, the declaration of presidential results only happens at the national level by the returning officer of the presidential election.
Now, at the polling station, when the voting comes to an end, the ballot boxes are opened in the presence of the EC officials and the agents of the presidential candidates. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
And in the presence of the agents and the EC officials, the ballots are counted. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
Now, when the ballots are counted, the entries are made by the EC official on Form 8B. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
And each party's agent is given Form 8B when it is filled out to endorse. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
Now, when the party's agent fails or refuses to endorse, he has to actually state the reason for his refusal on the form. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
And thereafter, each of the representatives of the presidential candidates present are given copies of this Form 8B. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
Good. Now, we then move to the Constituency Collation Center. The representatives of the presidential candidates are also there when all the Form 8Bs are put together and entries are made on Form 9 and 10. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
And again, when your representatives are there, they are given the Form 8Bs to Form 10s and 9s to look at and sign onto it. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
If they are dissatisfied, they are required to indicate their dissatisfaction on the form and state why they are refusing to sign. Is that correct?
That's what's supposed to be, my lord.
Good. Then we now move to the Regional Collation Center. There again, you have representatives there. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
And again, the constituency forms are entered on Form 11 and Form 12. And again, we go through the process of either signing or refusing to sign and stating reasons. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
And copies again are given to the representatives. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
Good. And then where you were sitting at in the National Collation Center, these Form 12s are brought up. That is correct.
That's correct, my lord.
Now, do you know that there's a clause on Form 12 which says that the representatives join the regional collation officer to declare that the results contained on those forms are a true reflection of the votes tallied from those regions? Are you aware?
My lord, I am aware.
Good. Now, as part of your responsibilities in the strong room, you are the eye and the feet and the ear of the presidential candidate, for that matter, the petitioner. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord.
So therefore, it is part of your duties to be there at all times. At least you are two. So if one is out, the other is there. Is that correct?
That's supposed to be the case, my lord.
Now, it is therefore, in my view, wrongful on your part to be suggesting that both of you left the strong room on the 9th. I'm putting that to you.
My lord, could you please go over that again?
Pardon me?
Can you please go over
I'm
that?
saying that it is therefore wrong for you to be indicating in your witness statement that both you and Rojo Metununu left the strong room on the 9th.
My lord, we only left on the instruction of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, who happens to be the returning officer. And we did so because in the performance of our duties as representatives of the petitioner, we observed a number of issues that were of concern to us, which had the potential of undermining or creating problems for the ultimate outcome of the election. And in fact, it's not particularly surprising that presently, both the first and the second respondents have also indicated in their witness statements that there were errors. It is in the spirit of that we tried to have a conversation with the returning officer, who, although was expected to be in the collation room with us, was never present, visited the room only twice, lasted for more than 2 minutes and went back. But we made efforts to bring this to her attention. And in the spirit of making sure that we work towards producing the most credible election results, we took her words of going to see our flag bearer to discuss the issues with her in good faith, and went accordingly.
You had your phones with you, is that correct?
We had
your phones, your telephones with you?
Yes, I had my phones with me. By the 8th, it was dead because I didn't carry my charger with me.
You had your computers with you, is that correct?
We had our computers.
There were journalists moving through and fro in that room, is that correct?
That's not correct.
I am putting it to you that there were people, there were journalists and key stakeholders moving through and fro in the room, and therefore you leaving was wrongful.
My Lord, there were no journalists in the room. I recall that there is a gentleman in the room who was doing videoing of what was happening, virtually there for the entire period we were there. And at some point, this gentleman was calling agents of the candidates, asking them to express their views on the process as it was happening. Of course, we declined that particular invitation. Journalists were not allowed inside that room. Now, I granted 2 interviews, but in granting those interviews, I had to make sure that I asked somebody to call those journalists for me so that I could express to them what exactly it is that we were experiencing.
Yes. Now, it is not true that you were instructed by the chairperson, who was not your principal, to leave the room. It is not true.
My Lord, it is true. I have no reason for lying. The reason is simply this. When we were leaving the room, we informed in the open room to the hearing of everybody, I believe, that we were instructed by the chairperson of the Electoral Commission to go and consult with our flag bearer, who is the petitioner, on the basis of our observations. And thereafter, she was going to make sure that she sends a rider to bring us back to the strong room because of the potential of traffic. Then, therefore, when we finish the process, then the results could be announced. Now, on the basis of this, when we were leaving the place, we left our laptops. We left in only one vehicle. I left my vehicle in the presence of the Electoral Commission. Why would we leave our laptops and our working tools in the place when, if we were not actually instructed to go? Besides, there were representatives of the Peace Council and there were observers in the room. And I personally approached one of the representatives of the Peace Council and informed him that this is the situation now and that we were going to be back. Indeed, we returned to the place in about 45 to 1 hour, only to have the strong room completely deserted, everything packed out. And yeah, that's what it was.
Do you know that even as we speak, there is not a single complaint of refusal to sign from 12 from your candidates, from the representatives of the petitioner? Do you know, even as we speak in this court?
My lords, with the greatest of respect, the representatives of the candidates at the regional level, I believe, is what you are referring to.
Yes.
But in the strong room, we were also there to carry out due process. And that is to say that it does not necessarily mean that once forms come from the regional level, signed or unsigned by our representatives there, we must or should automatically also endorse it. We were equally required to do due diligence, Because between what they have signed and what had arrived in the room, we needed to be sure. And so, with the greatest of respect, my lords, even though they signed, I don't think that necessarily mandates us to sign every form that arrived.
I am repeating this question for you, that as we speak, all the 12 or 13 from 12 that were endorsed by your original representatives did not have a single complaint beside it. I'm putting that to you.
My lord, that's not correct, because there is, with the greatest of respect, if I could refer,
my lord, if the witness can indicate what he's referring to so that we can follow him.
There is the form for Western North, where our representative did not sign and had written that the results from Seviwosu were massaged. Now,
but is it not the same Western North form that was certified in the strong by Rojo Metonunu?
That form was certified.
By who?
Of course, by Rojo Metonunu.
Thank you.
But, my lords, after certifying that form, he then drew the attention of Mr. Sribo, who was working with us in the coalition room, that we have complained from our representative in that region, and therefore he signed in error.
Fantastic. Now, you are well aware that by all these forms that we have gone through for the court, you either sign or you indicate refuse to sign on the forms. You are well aware.
Yes, my lord.
You are well aware that failure or refusal to sign or just leaving the form blank was not an option. You are well aware.
My lord, in the strong room, our understanding was that we were there to make sure that ultimately whatever is declared as the outcome of the election reflects the will of the people. Therefore, we
are well aware.
Therefore,
Mr. White, please,
my lord,
answer the question. If you go about it, who doesn't know that the strong room is for you to go through whatever has been submitted and certify it? Oh, cannot be allowed to give a lecture before he answers the question.
Right, you answer, and then if you have an explanation.
Yes, you will explain. We are allowed.
Thank you, my lords.
You are well aware that simply refusing to sign or indicate reasons or leaving the form blank was not an option for the purposes of the regulations that govern this election. That's what I'm asking you.
My lord, we are well aware.
Thank you.
But this is why the reasons were not stated. We had been asked by the Electoral Commissioner, when we brought our concerns to her attention, to go and have a deliberation with the petitioner. If she had allowed us to come back and she was still not convinced, we would have duly indicated those reasons there and allowed the process to continue. As it were, the process was truncated.
I have put it to you that you were not instructed by the chairperson of the first respondent to leave the room.
My lords, we were instructed by the first respondent. I had no reason whatsoever to just lie or deceive these honorable courts if that was not the case. And as I had indicated, our living there was not in secret. We openly told almost everybody who was there that based on our discussions with the first respondent, this is what the outcome is, and that we were going to be back. The reason for which we left everything we had at the place.
I am putting it to you that what you have just stated is false. And I'm further putting it to you that if it were true, well, my Lord, I'm grateful.
The question. Yeah. So allow the witness to answer the question.
Now, I am putting it to you that the EC chair did not instruct you to leave the strong room.
My lords, I maintain that we had no reason for leaving the place. Indeed,
I am.
Yes, she did instructed us to leave. And my lords, on the Saturday after the declaration, I believe an official of the EC had said in public that he had seen Mr. Rojo Metanonu gone to the Electoral Commission chairperson whilst we were there. Of course, this official may not be privy to what they discussed, but I can say and maintain that it is on the basis of her instruction that we exited the place.
I am further putting it to you that if what you were saying had any iota of truth, you would have provided at least one wee bit of corroborative evidence. I'm putting it to you.
My lords, the evidence is the fact that in leaving the place, we left everything we were working with. In leaving the place, we informed everybody else in the room, in the open conversation, that we were leaving the place and we will be back. Indeed, in leaving the place, we had no reason to believe that the chairperson of the EC was deceiving us and that was going to announce the results before we returned. But beyond that, my lords, at the time we were leaving, we had not come anywhere close to even knowing who had won and who had lost. The reason being that we were in the process of looking at region by region by region before we could move on to Form 13. As it were, and as it is now, we have never been presented with Form 13. We have never seen Form 13. We have never had the opportunity to actually have all the candidates and their results listed on Form 13 for us to vet again. The entire process was truncated. We were there to make sure that we had this thing done to the end. The only reason we left was because the first respondent had asked us to do so, and we did so in good faith. We did so in good faith in the interest of our democracy.
You see, on that day, you never spoke with the chair of the EC, did you? Yourself, you personally, you never spoke with her.
My lords, we were there working as a team.
Please answer the question. I'm saying you.
I, as an individual.
Yes. You didn't speak with her.
I did not speak to the EC chairperson personally.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, do you know why the forms had signed, or if you refuse to sign, indicate a reason? Do you know why? Do you know?
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, let me tell you what it is. The reason is that if there are irregularities, signing or indicating the reasons on the form, it will go to the next upper level and it will come to the notice of the EC officials there for resolution. I'm putting it to you.
My lords, as far as we were concerned, we were not given the opportunity to exhaust the processes that we were undertaking in order for us to come to a conclusion that our issues were not resolved, and therefore we were going to list them on the form.
Now, I am also putting it to you that the forms as endorsed is countersigned by the officials, and this becomes a certified complaint if indeed there are complaints on it. I'm putting it to you.
My Lord, could you please take the question again?
I am saying that once you had earlier on agreed that if you indicate a refusal or you sign, it goes to the EC official who countersigns it. And I'm saying that if the EC official countersigns it, it becomes a formal complaint in the system. I'm putting that to you.
My lords, that is why I'm saying we never got to the point where we could have indicated the reasons on the form. That opportunity was denied us.
That, you see, you didn't get the opportunity because your very agents and representatives in the regions whom you are trying to discredit in this court endorse the forms without complaint. I am putting that to you.
My lords, I am not trying to discredit our agents in the regions. I am saying that what happens at the regional level, which is the third level as narrated in the first respondent statement,
now
happens at that level. What happens at the national level, there is a reason why we were to be there. It doesn't mean that what comes from the regional level could be devoid of errors or mistakes. And it is in the process of going through that we identify material irregularities that we were bringing to the attention of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission.
Now, simply walking away or melting away as you did was not an option for the purposes of the forms.
My lords, if walking away was an option for us at any given point in time, we probably would have done that long ago. We had never at any point in time imagined walking away, and we never walked away. We only exercised the option of going to see the petitioner because the first respondent had asked us to do so, and we had no reason not to believe that she was acting in good faith, only for us to realize we were deceived into getting out of the place. Besides, the reason why we believe strongly that we were deceived was originally the announcement of the election results was scheduled to take place at the International Conference Center. We were all told, everybody was aware. We were all prepared for it. Less than 10 minutes after we left the place, as I was told later by others who were in the room, the chairperson, together with the officials of the EC, came to call them upstairs and hurriedly announced the results. This, for me, indicates that there was a deliberate decision to deceive us.
Melting away or walking away by you two, you and Rojo Metonunu, was in the relation of your duties to the petitioner.
My lords, we never walked away.
As a result of you being in the relation of your duty, you then concocted this story and fed it to the petitioner, leading to the filing of this ill-fated action.
My lords, if this was ever a concocted story, we would not have left our laptops and our working tools in the EC's premises in the strong room. If this was a concocted story, we would have left in our individual cars. If this was a concocted story, we had no basis telling everybody else in the strong room what the deliberations between us and the returning officer was and why we decided to do what we were doing. Besides, some of the agents, after telling them that the chairperson of the EC had asked us to go consult with the petitioner and come back, had told us that, oh, we hope you come back in time so that we can complete the process. So there was no reason why we would at any point in time on our own walk out of the place, my lords.
So, yes, my lord.
Because the word keeps changing. What exactly is your evidence? Are you saying that the chairperson of the first respondent instructed you, asked you, advised you to leave the room? What exactly are you saying?
My lord, I take it as...
Because in some instances you say instructed, in others you say asked. What exactly?
My lord, she instructed us to go and consult with the petitioner.
The chairperson of the first respondent instructed you?
The chairperson, yes, my lord.
Secondly, Mr. White, may I ask you to, may I ask you to be a bit slow in your answering because the recorders, yes, have to work.
My Lord, unfortunately, I can't tell who is talking. May I know who is talking? I can't see or whoever was talking right now. I don't have to see. Oh, okay, I see. All right, that's fine. I could only hear voices, so that's why I'm asking. I wanted to be sure it's an accepted comment.
I think it's because the camera is locked. You couldn't see. What's my sister saying? Your time, because
okay,
it's been recorded. Yeah.
Okay, I'm grateful, my Lord.
Now, you see, you never left any property of yours in the strong room. I am putting that to you.
My Lord, we left our laptops, calculators, and bags in the strong room. I personally left my vehicle within the premises of the EC, and by the time we had returned to the place, in fact, if we did not leave any properties of ours at the place, why would we have returned to the place in the first place? Then there would have been no basis to return to the place. We went back there to get our things.
You see, you didn't leave anything in that place because that was the place that Form 13 was posted at. I am putting that to you.
My lords, Form 13 was posted at where?
The very strong room that you left. That was where Form 13 was posted at.
My lords, I need clarity. This is unclear. We left the place and came back. When we came back, the place was deserted. There was nobody else there except the gentleman who I believe takes care of the facility, who was there. No. So I'm not too sure how Form 13 comes in, because as I had indicated earlier, neither myself nor my colleague was ever shown, given, or asked to look at Form 13 and certify or sign. It never ever happened.
You see, Dr. White, you didn't see Form 13 because at the time it was being filled, you had melted away. I am putting that to you. You didn't see Form 13 because at the time it was being filled, you and your other representatives, who were the eyes of the petitioner, decided to just vamoose.
My lords, we were asked, or if you like, instructed, and I should say that I use these terms, these words interchangeably, but it's all intended to mean instructed, to go and consult with our flag bearer by the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. Now, this question about we left because Form 13, that's the reason why we did not see Form 13. At the time we were leaving the place, my lords, we hadn't gotten to where we should even be having conversation about Form 13. We were looking at results through their summary sheets coming in region by region. We needed to complete that process, and then Form 13 would have been processed based on my understanding and projected on the screen so that we can compare the values on the regional summary sheets with the values indicated on the Form 13. This process never occurred, never happened, and I don't want to believe that between when we left and came back, which was not more than 45 minutes, the entire process that involves Form 13 had taken place, everybody agreed, signed, and results were declared. I'm putting pressure on the recorders. I'm sorry, my lords. I'm sorry.
But you agree with me. You agree with me that at the material time that you left, you had seen and certified 13 of the 16 Form 12s. Is that not so?
My lords, as far as I know, we did not certify 4 regions. So that brings those we certified to 12, because we have 16 regions. Now, I should indicate that even if it was just a single region that we did not certify, my lord, that for us was very important. The reason being that behind the numbers the wishes of people expressed in votes. And we wanted to make sure that in the end, irrespective of who was winning, the declaration reflects the exact will of the people of Ghana.
The four Form 12s that your original agents did not sign, they also did not indicate the reasons for their refusal to sign on those forms. Is that not so?
My Lord, may I refer? My Lord, the 4 regions that we did not sign, the reason was not because our regional reps did not sign.
Oh, please answer my question. When you make life difficult for me, answer the question. I'm saying that the 4 regions that your original representative did not sign, they also did not indicate the reason for their refusal to sign on the forms as required by the CEI 127. Answer the question.
Yes, my Lord.
Good. Are you aware that out of those 4 regions that your representatives in the regions did not sign or indicate their refusal, the petitioner won 3 of those regions?
My Lord, that is precisely the point. If our interest was just in winning.
Mr. You see, we've advised you, when you answer the question, you can add whatever you want to add.
Yes, my Lord.
What's your explanation?
Yes, my Lord. Could you please take the question again, my Lord?
I am saying that the 4 remaining regional Form 12s that your original representative did not sign, out of those 4, 3 of those regional forms had the petitioner as the winner.
Yes, my Lord. And that is precisely why our issue should be seen as very genuine. Yes, the petitioner had won, but we were not just interested in the winning, but also the votes and whether they truly represent and reflect the wishes and desires of the people. And we have noticed irregularities that we thought needs to be rectified. If we were there only to see forms that the petitioner was winning, I believe that we would have signed. But to the extent that, yes, the petitioner won those regions, but we did not sign and had raised issues, it's a clear indication that we actually were making sure that the writing is done according to law.
According to the law, raising issues must be on the Form 12s. Did you indicate any reason on any of the Form 12s?
My Lord, we did not, because we never got to the point where an opportunity to indicate reasons on the form was provided. Besides, the particular form that we are talking about, which I believe is Form 12 from the regions, had no space on the form for representatives in the strong room to put their signature and comments if they have any issues. The forms that came in as summaries did not have that particular column or space provided for us. So assuming we were even stating reasons why we were not signing, my lords, there was no place available for that.
You see, if you had any reason to refuse to certify Form 12, you would have indicated on it the same way that your representative signed, that your colleague Rojo signed and certified on all the others. I am putting that to you.
My lords, with the greatest of respect, I don't know whether it is possible to show how Form 12 looks like in this court so that my case will be made clear. I am saying that on that form, there is no space whatsoever for writing of comments if you have any concerns. I have a sample of that form here, my lords. This is the Bono East form. The columns here have no space whatsoever.
Are you referring to a sheet from your
My lords, I'm referring to just one of the regional summary sheets.
It's coming from, it's just your possession at the moment.
My lord, I believe so, my lord.
You must refer to what is called.
My lord, if we go to my exhibits, the one on Eastern region, it is actually the same form.
Go. Now, can you read the right part? There's a heading. In fact, start from the top.
Okay.
Where they sign, right? Start from the left column. Read all the headings for the hearing of the court on the Eastern regional sheet that you have.
Okay. Thank you, my lords. I'm reading it, but against the background that this. Okay. Name of agent at the regional level. Party. Name of party or candidate, signature of the agent at the regional level, reason if refused to sign at the regional level.
Thank you, my lord. Now, you indicated that you have not seen Form 13. I want you to look at the petition, the first respondent's Exhibit 4.
Could you please, my lords, can I please have a copy? Okay.
My lords, whatever is being shown to him, we need to know what is being shown to him, because
My lord.
Yeah, counsel for the petitioner is saying that whatever you want to show to the witness in the box, by the would I say the practice, settled practice, the counsel must have a look at it.
My lord, I wanted to show to the witness Exhibit 4.
Oh no, it passes through counsel. It doesn't take anything away. Yes.
You know? No, Exhibit 4 attached to the first respondent's witness statement. You are looking at the Form 13 regarding the 7 December 2020 elections, Exhibit 4. Is that correct?
My lords, that is not correct.
Now, the Form 13 was signed by 8 of the agents present at the time, the form that you are looking at.
my lords, that form is not in evidence at this stage.
I thought that he was showing it to him in order to raise some issues about credibility, maybe if he had signed it or something like that. But that form is not in evidence, and he cannot be asked questions about the content of that form. It's not in evidence, my lord. And the witness has stated quite clearly that no such form was presented at the time that they left. So that form cannot be the basis on which he can be asked to make references as to the...
With respect, I wish to withdraw the
Yes,
document
it's
from
not yet in evidence.
That's what you are saying.
Thank you.
Now, you see, at the time on the 9th that Form 13 was filled out and signed, you and your colleague, Rojo Metinonu, had left the commission.
My lord, at the time this form was prepared, which by the way we don't know what time it was prepared, we had been instructed by the first respondents to go and have deliberations with the petitioner on the basis of the irregularities that we have identified and had asked and had brought to her notice.
I am putting it to you that the first respondent's chairperson never instructed you to leave the commission.
My lord, the first respondent did instructed us to leave the place.
I am further putting it to you that you indeed did not even personally speak to her. She cannot instruct somebody whom she hasn't seen. Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord. Now,
Yes, my lord.
But in your witness statement, you stated that she asked you to go. Why do you insist on using instruct now? In your witness statement, you said she asked you.
My lord, I believe I had said earlier that I'm using instruct and ask interchangeably.
But the two words don't mean the same thing. The two words don't mean the same thing. We all know that.
Now, I am putting it to you that all the figures on Form 13 is a summary of all. Can't I put it on?
Back to the figures on Form 13, which is not in evidence. That's impermissible.
Mr. Chikata, he has recognized that he received training for his role. So I don't think that the question refers to a specific Form 13. Form 13 is a generic form, isn't it?
I was listening to the question that he asked,
So was I.
and I did not hear him say a generic Form 13.
Neither did he say the specific one. So let's see what the witness
In the
says.
context, the only Form 13 we've been talking about in the last 5 minutes is what he sought to tender. So in the context, I think in order not to mislead the witness, if he's talking about a generic clear, so that the witness...
That's appreciated.
My lord, I will address the court on it. Now, you were not present at the commission because you left when you realized that the petitioner had lost the election.
My lord, that cannot be true because as at the time we were instructed to go and have deliberations with the petitioner in that room, we had come nowhere close to knowing who had won and who had lost because the totals as they were coming from the regions had not been put together, and of course there were issues with some of them, so we couldn't have even put the totals together and decided that candidate A or B had won the election. So there is no reason why anybody should believe that we had left because we noticed that A or B was losing the election. Besides, we did not go into that room with a fixated mindset that by all means our candidate must win. We went to the room to make sure that whatever the summary sheets that were coming from the regions were reflects the true will of the people who went out to cast their votes on the 12th of December 2020.
You see, the fixation that you have is what you have just displayed in this court. Now, let us go to your exhibit that you have attached to your witness statement. Mr. Esiedun Ketia asked me to ask you about how that letter came about.
My lords, as we began noticing challenges with the summary sheets that were coming in, we considered it proper to relay the information to one, the petitioner, and two, the political party on which he stood as the presidential candidate. And as we relay it to them, we also told them that we had sought audience with the first respondent. I should say that we sought audience twice with the first respondent. In the first instance, when my colleague went, she told him that I have heard you seem to have some genuine concerns, give me a few more minutes and I will get back to you. The second instance was when she instructed that we should go and have deliberations with the petitioner and return.
But up to that point, you didn't deem it fit to register your complaint in the mode set out under CI 127.
My lords, as I had indicated earlier,
Answer the question, please.
because there was no space on the form for us to indicate the reasons.
Oh, okay. Now, did you mean this letter to be an official letter?
My lords, the question again.
Did you mean this letter to be an official letter? The exhibit attached to your witness statement, did you mean it to be an official process?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Now, as a lecturer, I believe that when you deliver an official process, it ought to be receipted for. Is that correct?
That is correct, my lord.
Now, look at your document and tell us where it is indicated that it was received at the headquarters or any other branch of the first respondent. Indicate from me.
My lords, there is no indication of it on the letter, but it is important to be cognizant of the circumstances of the time between the 7th and the 9th, if not earlier. The entire Electoral Commission's building was cordoned off with heavy military and police presence. That made it almost impossible for anybody to ply even the public roads that were just beside the Electoral Commission. Now, when the letter was written, at the time the letter was being brought, we were on our way to hold consultations with the petitioner. The letter was brought in by the Deputy General Secretary of the party in...
You are saying in one breath that you were not there.
Yes, my lord.
How can you give this evidence of who brought it there and all of this?
My lord, I am speaking in respect of what I know happened.
Yes. You were not there.
My lord, I believe that not being there does not necessarily mean that I will not have knowledge of things that may have occurred.
No, you can't. Unless you tell us how this knowledge was acquired.
The knowledge was acquired through interactions with those who were directly involved. And therefore, the letter was brought in by the Deputy General Secretary in the company of lawyer Tony Lita and lawyer Marietta Opombrew and other officials of the party. When they arrived, they had to stay behind the police military cordon off.
Dr. White,
This evidence is not admissible.
Thank you, my lord.
Any of the persons that you have mentioned,
we are live.
Thank you, my lord. They are alive. In fact, they are present.
So let's come back to the letter. There is no indication on it that it was received. Is that right? Yes. Okay. You also did not send the letter by email.
To the best of my knowledge, no.
You see, I am putting it to you that this letter was put out by you, your party, in the public domain to create a certain scenario in the country. It was never received by the first respondent.
That is not correct, my lord.
I am further putting it to you that this letter was generated by you in order that you will hide your failings as an agent of the petitioner in the strong room.
That's not correct, my lord.
And I further put it to you that this action it came about as a result of your failings and the falsehoods that you have peddled.
That's not correct, my lord.
And I'm further putting it to you that you are not a truthful witness.
My lord, I am a very, very truthful and credible witness.
And finally, that the petitioner is not entitled to any of the reliefs.
My lord, to the best of my knowledge, the petitioner is entitled to all of it.
My lord, that will be all for the witness.
Sorry. Yes, my lord. The second respondent, counsel. Now, Dr. Professor White, I'm putting it to you that you know that the chair of the EC has no power to instruct either you or Metro Nunu.
My lords, I know that.
So, I'm furthermore putting it to you that if you left the strong room, you did so on your own volition and based on your own judgment.
My lord, that's not correct.
Now, you see, part of the burden of your witness statement has been to demonstrate, as you put it in this letter, MKW1, that Ashanti region provides fundamental problems that require investigation. We have found out that almost across board, the aggregates on the summary sheets do not reflect the individual results on the pink sheets. Is that not so?
Yes, my lord.
Now, I'm putting it to you that that was the basis of your allegation in the press that over 390,000 votes had been, there are problems with them.
Yes, my lord.
Yes. Now, you admit that in the petition of the petitioner, he makes no such averment?
My lords, I believe...
No, please. No.
My lords...
I'm saying that you know that in the petitioner's petition, he makes no such averment about 390,000 votes.
My lord, he did.
Well, the court will determine that. Now, I'm also putting it to you that when, according to your tale, you were leaving, the two of you, one of you could have remained and the other have gone. Is that not an option?
My lords, the weight of the issues we were going to discuss with the petitioner requires both of us to be present.
So are you suggesting that if one of you went and said that, Mr. Petitioner, this is what the two of us have agreed upon, so what I'm relating to you is based on our common position, the petitioner would not have heard you?
My lord, I don't know.
That is a good question. Answer. Now, I'm therefore putting it to you that your witness statement adds absolutely nothing to the case of the petitioner.
My lord.
Mr. Kutumba, this is a matter for addresses.
My lords, my witness statement.
My lords,
okay, so
that will be all for the witness.
Oh, thank you. But, my lord, can I?
Please, there will be questions from the bench.
Dr. White.
Yes, my lord.
Kindly look at an exhibit, the presidential election regional results summary sheet.
My lords, please, I couldn't hear you.
Presidential election regional results summary sheet is attached to your witness statement.
Attached to my witness statement?
Yes, your witness statement.
Okay.
Eastern region.
Eastern region, yes, my lord.
The one with the... Mr. White, Dr. White, look at the one...
Yes, my lord.
Now look at the far right column.
The far...
Right column, the bottom part.
Okay.
Reasons if refuse to sign. Do you see it?
Yes, my lord.
So are you seriously saying that if you had any reason to refuse to sign, you couldn't have registered it there, that column? I want you to be very... Are you seriously saying that this column could not take any reason for a refusal to sign?
My lord, with the greatest of respect, this form is designed purposely for regional representatives at the coalition center at the regional level. Yeah. They are the ones who are required to sign and a space made available for them and state reasons.
Yes.
At the National Coalition Center, my lords, no space whatsoever is provided on any form whatsoever to indicate why we have a concern and we needed it registered. And in fact, it is in consideration of that we decided that let's have a conversation with the returning officer and raise our concerns.
Agree. So you agree with me that at the regional level, there is a space for parties representative to assign reasons for not signing?
Yes, my lord, but not at the national level where I was a representative.
All right. One minute.
Yes, my lord.
You said you received training or before assuming your duties.
Yes, my lord.
So you've seen the Form 13 before?
Form 13?
Yes.
I have seen the Form 13 during the training process, yes.
All right. I'm going to show you a copy of the Form 13 that has been brought to this court.
Okay.
It's not in evidence yet, but I'm going to show it to you. Please show it to his lawyer and then show it to you. Do you see a column that is headed reason for refusal to sign?
Yes, my lord.
Thank you.
And my lord, if I may, this is not Form 13.
What is it?
Only the first respondent can answer. Because if you look into the CI 127, a sample of the Form 13 is there. It requires you to list the regions and list the candidates and their individual votes as obtained from the regions. This form only listed the candidates, the votes they obtained, and then subsequently had agents and the candidates and signature. So this is not Form 13.
So when you say that the Form 13, as you know, it does not have a place for indicating your refusal to sign, you are thinking about what is in the law?
My lord, I have not said the Form 13 as I know it. I only said we were not given any form in the National Coalition Center that requires or has a space for us to sign.
Thank you.
Thank you, my lord.
CJ. Look, Doc, I have a very simple question. Is there a reason why there should be the two of you in the strong room at the same time?
Yes, my lord. I believe it is for us to be able to confer. For instance, the process involves a lot of calculations. And if I may, at some point, my colleague has to be mentioning the figures for me one by one, whilst I calculate them, both on the calculator and then in the Excel file. So there obviously was a reason why we have to be two. And I noticed that the CI actually says that agents must not be more than two.
All right. So if there was consent for you to leave, and in a heightened, circumstance like that, do the two of you go?
Madam, sorry.
No, please, because you see, you were there for a purpose.
Yes,
for
my
the
lord.
petitioner, his eyes, body, everything was you.
Yes, my
You
lord.
were going to confer with the petitioner.
Yes.
What were you expecting him to say? Because you were the ones receiving the regional results. So if you have to go and confer with the petitioner, wasn't it enough for one of you to go so that one stay around and see exactly what is happening?
My lord, with the
Looking
greatest
at the atmosphere.
My lord, with the greatest of respect, the question itself suggests that the first respondent cannot be trusted.
No.
And therefore, we should have left one person there. I indicated to this honorable court, my lords, that we acted in good faith and realized later that we were deceived. And so, yes, there was that option, but we exercised the option that will allow us to give the petitioner the best of information that was available to us. For instance, my lord, whilst he was there meeting with the returning officer, I was in the strong room. He needed to inform the petitioner what exactly he was discussing at that time, and I needed to tell the petitioner what I was observing whilst I remained in the strong room. So it was important that both of us left.
Doctor, I want to be very clear on some of these issues. Now, you've already told this court that you were not sent to the strong room to take instructions from the chairperson of the first respondent. Is that correct? Your presence in the strong room was to see to the cause of the petitioner, but not to take instructions from the first respondent. You were asked this question and you admitted, you said yes.
And I indicated that.
You said yes, you are not to take instructions from the first responder.
My Lord, yes.
So, when the first responder said, go and consult the petitioner, what were you going to discuss with the petitioner? You were in the strong room for a purpose. He told you to go and consult the petitioner. On what? I want to know.
My Lord, on the specific irregularities that we have brought to her attention, and she did indicate also that the reason she was asking us to do so that all the stakeholders, including the NPP, Peace Council and others, could be invited to ensure that we have a credible result before the announcement is made.
But you know that part of your duties in the strong room, at the end of the day, if you are refused to sign, was to indicate the reasons why you had refused to sign.
My Lord, it appears to me that there is a particular side of this narrative that has not been very clear. I am saying with the greatest of respect that the forms that arrived in the room and within that room itself, there has been no space whatsoever for us.
No, I don't mean that. I am saying that at a point in time in the strong room, there will be a time for you to indicate your displeasures on what has happened.
My Lord,
to the EC.
We know that, and we had hoped to get that opportunity, but that opportunity was denied us.
Please. Then, you see, would it be right for me to say that by taking contrary instructions from the chairperson of the first respondent, granted what you are saying is true, you did not help the cause of the petitioner who sent you there?
My Lord, I don't believe that is true. We were working in furtherance of making sure that the results that ultimately gets announced by the first respondent reflect and represent the will of the people. And if she asking us to consult with the petitioner is part of how we could get there, we were happy to do it.
But then, seriously speaking, you did not take your training seriously. No, please.
It's not an appropriate question.
I want to be clear. You've gone to do a particular job. Then, instead of doing a particular job that sent you there, you take instructions from somebody else. Then you leave your job. You see, that's what I want to find out. Then you did not help the petitioner.
My Lord, with respect, his lordship is entitled to his opinion about what the petitioner did. In terms of factual evidence about what he did and the reasons that he has answered. He has, in terms of, his lordship can have his opinion. That's his opinion to have, and he can have it as well. But in terms of what the petitioner did and why he did it, he has answered the question. So I don't think he can be harassed with these opinions.
Please, I take deference to that. I am not harassing the witness. It's not my duty to harass him. Well, I know that he has been sent by the petitioner to do a job for him. Then somebody tells you, oh, go to the petitioner and consult him. If the petitioner could do the work, he himself would have been there. That's what I want to find out. But how am I harassing him?
Well, you're harassing him respectfully because the petitioner has indicated that it wasn't just somebody told them that go and talk to the petitioner. The petitioner has indicated that the returning officer...
The witness or the petitioner?
The witness. Thank you for the correction. The witness has indicated that the chairperson, not just anybody, the chairperson, who is the returning officer, was the person with whom his colleague had the conversation. And on the basis of that, they were sent to talk with the petitioner. And he has given every account of why they thought it fit that both of them should go. Now, so if repeatedly an opinion is being put to him, that is harassment of the witness, and that's not allowed.
My last question.
Thank you.
My last question, Doc. Just by the way, what do you lecture at the University of Ghana? The subject, please.
My Lord, I teach public policy.
Okay, thank you.
Right. I have one more question for you. I want to be clear in my mind. You've said in evidence that you never spoke to the chairperson or the first respondent. You said it.
My Lord, I did say I never spoke to her in person.
Yes.
But I do know that my colleague had spoken to her on our behalf.
No. So how did she instruct you? The person never spoke to you. You have admitted on oath.
My Lord, I am surprised at this question. The reason being that...
Why are you surprised?
I'm surprised because...
the question I'm asking emanates from your evidence.
Yes, my Lord.
So wait. Dr. Wait.
Thank you, my Lord. Sorry about that, my Lord.
I'm saying that you have admitted on oath that you never spoke to the chairperson.
Yes, my Lord.
So I'm asking, how was the instruction issued? Is it not a fair question? Why are you?
It is a fair question, my Lord.
So why
the instruction was issued through my colleague, Rojo Betelnunu.
Yeah. So
and on the basis of that, we had to comply. Thank you, my Lord.
No re-examination.
Order in court, please.
Counsel, may we know whether this is the last witness for the petitioner?
My Lord, we have an application in respect of our request for inspection of certain documents. And the outcome of that application will determine whether we ask leave for a further witness, because we've only filed two witness statements, and we would need to ask leave. But the outcome of the application that we have pending will affect the decision that we make.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Amenuvo, have you been served?
Yes, my Lord, we have been served.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Kotampa.
My Lord,
have you been served?
been served.
Then, do you have any objection to the application?
My Lord, with respect, can the witness be...
Oh, let me discharge him. Yes.
Can he be discharged?
Yeah, oh, certainly.
Thank you, my Lord. I'm in a hurry to go. Thank you, my Lord. Order in court, please.
My lords, with the greatest respect, I mean, I appreciate, yes, but my lords, is it that the Supreme Court requires people to be in a suit?
Yeah, but well, we insist. It is just an advice to him. It's nothing. I'm not taking anything away from him, sir.
My lords, the only reason I rise in connection with this is that if the word goes out that whenever lecturers are coming to the Supreme Court, they have to be in suit, Because that.
Well, order in court, please.
We are raising the status of lectures.
Sorry, Mr. Menuvo, are you opposing the application?
Yes, my lord. So
Mr.
My lords,
Akotampa.
we are opposed to.
Okay. Then we will adjourn it to tomorrow. Yeah. If you have any process to file. Mr. Chika.
No, my lords.
You have processes to file. Yeah. Please, we want to. Sorry, excuse me. Please, do you want to have it argued today or you?
yes, my lord, it was filed today and served today. My lord, if you, with the kind permission of the court, get an hour and a half, we can come and file our opposition. If my lords want to take us later in the day.
My lord, then we might as well be given the opportunity to file it by the end of the day and we'll argue tomorrow.
Order in court, please.
By court, the petition is adjourned to Wednesday, the 3rd of February 2021 at 9:30 a.m. for motion for an order for production for inspection of documents. If after the motion there is the opportunity for us to continue, we may do so. Thank you.
All rise.
Whether you like it or not, the dryness and dust is coming. And this time, it might not give up that easily. But do the people have the power to shake it off?
Well, of course they do, and you do too. Kick dry skin to the curb and get smooth, intensely nourished skin with Nivea's deep moisture lotions and lip balms. Follow the story online, #DoneWithDryness.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am campaigning some Naneke, China Shop, winner for TV3 Talented Kids. When you write under a table, it will not shine unless you put it at the top of the table. Give a child a word and he will form a sentence. Give a child a sword and he will start a war. Oh, give a child love and he will spread it like a virus so everyone is infected with goodness. I'm Nakia Mani Sam, winner of Talented Kids Season 10, as well as the Young Discovery Point of the Year. TV3 Talented Kids has given me a bright future. I made it, and I believe you can make it.
It's time for Season 12 of Talented Kids, the show that unearths and promotes kids with talent. From singers to poets to actors to artists and so much more. We'll bring to your homes Ghana's most talented kids shows on TV3 every Sunday at 4 p.m. Talented Kids is powered by Indomie Instant Noodles. Are you ready to be entertained? Talented Kids, free to play. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Brought to you by Heaven Insecticide Spray and Coil, and Napa Foods, Puma Drinks, Kidivite Multivitamins from NS Chemist.
Previously on Battleground.
I want you to deliver a message to your uncle.
What message?
You've already played your part, sir. What's wrong?
I'm starting a new life for myself.